5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello everybody, what's going on? I am the Admiral, and I told you it was coming. We're doing some weekly sports reports, so here's exactly what this is up to as I readjust my... There we go, that's much better. So basically what this is going to be is going to be me giving you guys some updates on the sports world, professional, college, basically whatever's going around that I think you guys need to know about. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start out with baseball today. The World Series starts, of course. I'll get into my predictions after I talk about stuff like Don Mattingly, the Dodgers manager, on the hot seat. Really? I mean, come on. Early in the season, the Dodgers were really, really bad. And then Yasiel Puig came in, and they went like 32-8 in 40 games. First place, made to the NLCS. I don't really understand why he's on the hot seat, but then again, I'm not the Dodgers front office now, am I? I think he's a good manager. I liked him. I didn't know him as a player, but he was good, so I've heard. But I think he's a good manager. I think if he stays, they'll have more success next year. I mean, they got Clayton Kershaw, they got Zach Greinke, they got Yasiel Puig, they got Adrian Gonzalez, they got the Ryu. They're just a good team with a shot to make it to the World Series next year, and I think Don Mattingly gives them a really good shot to do that. Moving on to managers who I'm surprised about. Jim Leyland resigned from the Tigers. What? When I saw it, I was like, did he get fired? No, he quit. I was like, come on, Jim, you're doing so well. I mean, you got the Marlins to the World Series. You turned the Pirates around. And you brought the Tigers out of the abyss. I mean, look at that team now. They got Justin Verlander, Matt Scherzer, Sanchez. They got Cabrera. They got Fielder. They got Torrey Hunter. They are a great team with no titles with that team. But that's not all on him. Their bullpen was garbage in the ALCS against Boston. It was just terrible. They're the reason they lost that game. I mean, Scherzer and Verlander were spectacular. Their other starters, Doug Fister, I think it's Anibal Sanchez, they did great. And then when you get to the bullpen, that's where things went downhill. But I'm going to miss you, Jim. I hope you come back. I don't really care if you go to the Tigers or not, but I hope you come back, get another World Series title, then leave. So now we can get into my World Series predictions. So starts today, Boston, St. Louis. I am a Yankee fan. I hate Boston, but that's not why I'm picking the Cardinals. I'm just kidding. I sadly think the Red Sox are going to win. I don't know. I just think the starting pitching is a little better towards St. Louis. I think the batting better for Boston. I think Boston's bullpen is a little stronger with Koji Uehara on the back end. So I think it's going to go 7. I think it's going to go 7, but sadly I think Boston pulls it out in the 7th. So that's it for baseball. Now we can go into some football now. NFL football, that's my thing. I know a ton of stuff about professional football. And this part's probably going to be the longest part of the video, so let's go ahead and get started now. The Chiefs are undefeated. Now, I thought they were going to be a good team. Thought they could contend for a wild card. I thought they were going to go 9-7, 10-6, and they're 7-0. Go Chiefs! I was one of the people that was like, Alex Smith lost his starting job because he got concussed and Colin Kaepernick came in. I was mad. I didn't understand why. I mean, all the dude does is win. He won at Utah back in college. At Utah. I think Urban Meyer was the coach back then. I'm not entirely sure. But he was winning at Utah. He was winning in San Francisco. And now he's winning in Kansas City. And now that's not all on him. That's a lot on Andy Reid too, coming into adjust the video. There we go. That's a lot on Andy Reid too, coming in to really take control of that team. I mean, they got Jamal Charles, they got Dwayne Bowe, they got Justin Houston, Tom Hawley, Derek Johnson, Eric Berry, Brandon Flowers. They have so many good people. And they were 2-14 last year. I know the record for turnaround is is it 11 games? I think it's 11. And they got a really good shot at winning 13 this year. It might be 10, actually. Yeah, I think it's... I don't know. I know it was the Colts. The first year Peyton Manning came in, and the second year he came in. I'm pretty sure it was that year turnaround. It may have been 10. But they've got a good shot at going 13-3, making that big turnaround. Now, another team that's near and dear to me, the New York Football Jets. The Jets, not the Giants. I don't want to talk about the Giants because, frankly, I don't care as much. The Jets, though, 4-3. Now, if you guys saw that play, the controversial call against the Patriots, well, a rule is a rule is a rule. You can't get behind somebody and push them on a field goal, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, so here's what happened. You got one guy here, one guy here. This dude's pushing in. This guy doesn't really go behind him to push. He just waits for him to get a little in front of him, then pushes diagonally up. I mean, it's a flag. I can understand disgruntlement from the Patriot fans. I mean, I've got a lot of family members who are in Boston, Patriot fans, who are like, oh yeah, the Patriots are going to kick their ass. And before the game, I'm like, I think the Jets are going to win, actually. Not exactly the most confidence in the world because, I mean, the Jets, come on, they're a very inconsistent team. Geno Smith is inconsistent as hell. But came out of there with a win. I was like, yes, I got that pick right. But yeah, I don't think they're a playoff contender. I mean, okay, so we got the Patriots winning the division. We got the Bengals winning the division. Indy winning the division. Denver and Kansas City both making the playoffs. So you've got San Diego, the Jets, Baltimore. I think Pittsburgh can make a run. And you've got Tennessee once Jake Locker gets back and healthy because they got a good defense. They got a good defense. I just don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they'll finish 8-8, maybe. I mean, they still got 3 divisional games, 2 against Miami, 1 against Buffalo, so they'll probably go 2-1 in those. Sorry. But no playoffs. If they can win this week, they're playing Cincinnati, then I'll believe the Jets are playoff contenders. But sorry, you're still my team. I love you guys, but playoffs, not so much. Now we're going to go into the injuries from this past weekend, and all I have to say is NFL, you need to take a look in the mirror and figure out what the hell is wrong. Because there were a lot of bad injuries this week. I mean, Doug Martin, Sam Bradford, Reggie Wayne, Jermichael Finley, Arian Foster, Nick Foles, not to mention Brandon Merriweather knocking everybody and himself out. Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Marshall, himself, his players. I don't know what the hell is wrong with him. I'll get into him in a second. But Peyton Manning's even hurt now. Something's got to change. And I know I'm forgetting a dude that got a season-ending injury, but I don't remember who. Josh Freeman got concussed. I'll go into him in a second. But come on, your mantra is player safety first. Player safety right now is down the toilet. Yeah, NFL. What the hell? Come on. I think it has to do with practice. They don't really practice anymore. They walk through and they do drills. They don't have contact in practice. So I'm like, these players aren't getting accustomed to the wear and tear of games. I understand that with short weeks, I know there's a lot of teams that play Sunday, play Thursday, play Monday, play Thursday. I don't think that happens. But these short weeks, I mean, come on. They're also talking about expanding the league to 18 weeks. But the way you do that is if you add a second bye. No. And that you can't put games on Wednesdays. I think they need to get rid of Thursdays, period. Leave that. Just go away from it. I understand they need money. They're greedy. But these short weeks, the Thursday games are always the sloppiest, except the Thanksgiving Day games. Because those Thanksgiving Day games, it's a tradition. But, come on, get rid of Thursday. Leave Friday to college. Leave Friday to high school, Saturday to college, Sunday to you guys, Monday night you guys got 2. Now, when college football season is done, then you put games on Saturday. So you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 5 days to rest, not you get back on Monday, you practice Tuesday, you got to leave Wednesday to get there by Thursday. You got 2.5 to 3 days to rest from a professional game. I mean, that's just not fair. NFL, look at yourself. Change things. Also, with those injuries, a lot of teams' playoff chances. I mean, the Colts, Reggie Wayne, that's a big one. You lose your number 1 receiver. You're Mr. Dependable. Your go-to guy, the guy that's going to bail Andrew Luck out. They're going to make the playoffs, still going to win the division, but I don't think they go further than the divisional round. Sorry, I just don't see it without Reggie Wayne. The Packers without Jermichael Finley. I mean, they've got Jordy Nelson, Eddie Lacy, and everybody else is hurt. Randall Cobb's out for a while. Another thing you need to look at, low hits below knees. No. You can't hit above the neck. I understand. You shouldn't be able to hit below the knees either. Brian Cushing, another dude who got hurt. I mean, it's a legal block. Jamal Charles. I get it, but league, you got to do something about these low hits, low blocks. It's just not fair to these players to tear their ACLs, MCLs, break their knees, meniscus. It's not fair. Brandon Merriweather, like I said, he doesn't go low. In fact, he hits everybody in the head, which is why he got suspended originally for 2 games, but just found out, appealed it, got it repealed to 1 game. The dude got 2 personal fouls in the last game against the Bears on Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey for hits above the head for no reason. The dude leads with his head. I mean, come on. If you're talking about player safety, get him off the field for more than 1 game. I mean, okay. I guess suspension is something, but you really want to send a message. Suspend the dude for like 4 games. I mean, Von Miller got suspended for PEDs, not hurting people. I mean, so they've got PEDs up here, and you got hitting people in the head down here. I don't see the disconnect, NFL. Let's go to the Vikings now. Josh Freeman had a shit game. I mean, the whole that game was just bad. The Giants played bad. The Vikings played bad. It was a bad Monday night game. That's why I didn't watch most of it. But Josh Freeman apparently got concussed somewhere in the 3rd quarter, so he's out. Which means Christian Ponder back in. But what are the Vikings going to do? I mean, now that they're talking about trading Adrian Peterson. Did I just say that? The Vikings are thinking about trading Adrian Peterson? Talk about throwing your season away. I mean, when everybody thought the Browns were throwing their season away for trading away Trent Richardson, imagine what the Vikings would be doing trading away Adrian Peterson. Best player on your team, arguably the best running back. He is the best running back in the NFL. Arguably the best player in the NFL. I mean, Madden 25, there were 3 guys, 99 overall. J.J. Watt, Calvin Johnson, Adrian Peterson. Only thing I can see you can trade that guy for is if you get like 5 draft picks, 2 first rounds, 2 second rounds, a 3rd round, and some depth at, I don't care, wide receiver or something. Only way I can see it. But I mean, the dude's on pace to set a bunch of records. And I noticed one thing in the game, for the part I did watch, is that there are 9 guys in the box. Obviously, you don't want to run, but they run, and Adrian Peterson has a shit game. You got Greg Jennings one-on-one. You got Kyle Rudolph. You got a second wide receiver, Cordell Patterson. Audible to a pass. I mean, come on. You got one-on-one on the outside with a weak Giant secondary, and you run the ball on a 9-man box. Come on. Vikings. Do I want to even go into the Browns? Jason Campbell starting, Brandon Weeds out. Hey, Jeff Garcia even threw his name out there for starting for the Browns this week, which I thought was hilarious. Because anybody remember his stint with the Browns before? That was bad. It was really bad. Great with San Francisco, good with the Eagles, terrible on the Browns. But I don't think that was all on him. I think that was on the team around him was just bad. They were just a bad team. Anything else on the NFL? Nope, not that I can think of. So let's go to the NBA. So the 76ers threw their season away. That's all I got to say. If Nerlens Noel sits the whole year, they're just vying for #1 pick Andrew Wiggins and Nerlens Noel. That would be great for the 76ers. But they were going to be bad already. So Nerlens Noel, I mean, he's coming off an ACL, so it's not all that bad. Everybody remember Greg Oden? The dude from Ohio State went to Portland and got hurt immediately because he wasn't allowed time to heal. Shit happens. I think it's a pretty good idea, especially if they're vying for a draft pick. So the 76ers done for the year. And now we go into Derrick Rose. Has anybody been watching any of the preseason basketball? He has been balling lately. He is looking great. He's looking sharp. He's looking back to form. And if he is back to full form, watch out for the Bulls, Heat. LeBron, watch out for the Bulls. They're a good team. They were good last year. They got to the second round of the playoffs. I mean, they lost, but whatever. I mean, they lost to the Heat without Derrick Rose. They got good size. They got Noah. They got Boozer. You put Derrick Rose on that team. I mean, you got 5 teams in the East, kind of for. I'm a Knicks fan, so I got to put them up there. You got the Nets, who I hate, just because they're basically the new look Boston Celtics plus Darren Williams and Joe Johnson and Brook Lopez. Joe Johnson overrated. I don't really want to go into that. He's just overrated. The Pacers, good. Bulls, good. Heat, whatever. And that leads me to my next point. Who can beat the Heat? Well, Bulls with Derrick Rose. Pacers got the size. I don't think the Nets can, so I'm going to go ahead and take them away. And then you go to the Western Conference. You got the Rockets. You got the Clippers. You got the Spurs. You got Thunder. The Grizzlies, maybe, depending on how well they show up this year. But I don't know. Let's see what's going to happen this year. It's still preseason, so doesn't really mean that much. But Derrick Rose is back. Derrick Rose is back. Now we go into hockey. If you don't know much about hockey, well, I'm not following that much either. Now that I'm down here in Atlanta instead of up in New York, where I was a huge Rangers fan, loved hockey. There's no hockey down here. We've had 2 stints of hockey teams. They went to Calgary. They went to Winnipeg. Thank you, Canada. Thank you for taking hockey out of Atlanta. Oh well. People wouldn't watch it anyway. But I gotta say, the Sharks and the Avalanche just looking like great teams right now. Sharks have a phenomenal offense, and the Avalanche, quite the opposite, have a phenomenal defense. That's all I have to say. Though those teams looking really good, the Avalanche, what a turnaround with their new coach, Roy. I don't really know how to pronounce it. I just know that he's bringing energy back to that team. So, Colorado, you didn't have the Rockies this year. You got the Broncos, and now you got the Avalanche turning up. Ooh, Colorado sports looking pretty good, and the Nuggets, we'll see. But you go out to Anaheim, talk about disappointment. The Angels, they had a bad year, but the Ducks are hot. Ducks are hot. Watch out for them to be making some pushes. I mean, it's the beginning of the year, so I can't really talk much about who's going to do what, who's going to do this, who's going to be bad, who's going to be great. But the Ducks, Avalanche, Sharks, the Blues, the Blackhawks, they're all looking great. And then we go to my team, the Rangers, and they have no offense. I feel like they've scored like 11 goals in 7 games or something like that. I don't even know what that is, but it's terrible. They're so bad. 11 goals in 7 games is 1.5 goals a game. You can't win like that. Henrik Lundqvist is good. Your defense is fine. You get up like 26, 27, something like that. You got to score. To win, to score. It's a trade-off. You got to score to win. But your defense is fine. You just need to invest in somebody who's going to put the puck in the net. You don't have that. So, come on, Rangers, fix yourselves. Now we go to college football. I'm going to hop right into BCS standings. You got Alabama, Oregon, FSU, Ohio State, and then Missouri. Here's my top 10. Or my top 5. Oregon, Florida State, Alabama, Missouri, Ohio State. I mean, what more does Missouri have to do? They beat UGA. They beat Florida. Come on. Ohio State beat who? They beat Wisconsin. They beat Northwestern, who is just... They're going down. They're way down now. But Alabama beat A&M. Great. They beat an Ole Miss team. They beat a pretty good Virginia Tech team. Oregon is blowing everybody out. They just blew out Washington. I want to see what they do this week against UCLA, though. That should be a good game. I mean, let's see what Brett Hundley is going to do. Puts up a lot of points. I don't know. Could be an upset. You didn't hear that here. Florida State demolishing everybody. Jameis Winston. I hope that for next year's draft, the Jets just tank. Or somebody's going to tank just so they can get him number 1 overall. Because right now he's the number 1 overall pick in my opinion. And he could be looking at a Heisman maybe. Maybe. Him and Mariota. It's going to be however those standings finish off. What if they played for the national title? Who would be the winner of that game gets the Heisman, basically. But everybody wants to see Alabama or Oregon just to see. But I think Alabama is frankly a little overrated this year. That's why I have them at number 3. See them beat LSU, or see them beat Auburn, see them win the SEC, go undefeated. Then they can move up to the top 2. Oregon still got Stanford, still got Oregon State. That is a game to watch. Sean Mannion puts up the huge numbers up in Oregon State. That's going to be a good game. It's a rivalry game. You never know, but that's way later in the season. And then Florida State, they play Miami. They play the ACC title game, probably against Virginia Tech or Miami. I don't know yet. We're not there yet. But I don't know. If we finish with 3 or 4 teams undefeated, it's going to be crazy. And then we go to Miami. Speaking of Miami, the NCAA, here's the ball. They dropped the ball on that one. Here was the turnout. I think it's like 9 scholarships, 3 per year for the football program, 3 for the basketball program, and their coach who's in Missouri now for basketball, spending like 5 games. No bowl bans. I mean, they self-imposed a bowl ban, but you know who's mad? USC's mad. You know who else is mad? Penn State's mad. Ohio State's mad. All these teams that got killed by the NCAA, they're like, you did what? You did nothing. They dropped the ball on that one. I mean, a sigh of relief to everybody that it's over, but NCAA, okay, let's put the NFL up here with player safety. NCAA is like down on the floor, which I got a bit of a lofted bed, so 4 feet. It's bad. NCAA, you need to fix yourself. Another team, look in the mirror. So we got the Heisman race. Obviously, you got Winston, you got Mariota up in the top 2. Johnny Manziel, is he hurt? I don't know. If he doesn't play this weekend, I'd say that his Heisman chances are gone. Especially with 2 losses already, they're not winning the division, they're not winning the conference, and I don't even know what bowl they're going to go to. Maybe the Chick-fil-A Bowl? Who knows? But also in the Heisman race, you got 2 guys who are in the top 5 who are just putting up huge numbers. You got Sean Mannion in Oregon State and Bryce Petty, I think it's Bryce, in Baylor. What is Baylor now? Are they like 6? I feel like they're 6. No. No, they're not, are they? Maybe. They're in the top 10, I know that. Baylor, Latch Seastrunk, and Bryce Petty, arguably the best running back quarterback combo in the country. I mean, DeAnthony Thomas and sorry, I'm just feeling a little under the weather right now. DeAnthony Thomas and Marcus Mariota looking good, but I think they're a little better. But I don't know. We'll see what's going on in the Heisman race. It's going to be determined on who finishes up where in the BCS standings, who finishes with what record. But Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, are the top 2 right now. And some other stuff. Rick Pitino's calling Louisville a mini dynasty. I don't think so yet. You got to win a few more titles, get to a few more Final Fours consecutively for me to consider that. This weekend, or upcoming stuff that you guys need to watch, the World Series starts tonight. It's Wednesday. There's no football on. Might as well tune into that. It's game 1. It's Adam Wainwright and John Lester. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. Other stuff to watch this weekend in college football. You got Texas Tech playing Oklahoma. Texas Tech ranked 10, Oklahoma 15. That's a huge game in the Big 12. I think Oklahoma wins just because I don't see them losing 2 consecutive games in conference after they got beaten by Texas. That was bad. Texas Tech playing with the back quarterback. I think Oklahoma pulls that out, but I think it's close. It's going to be like 38-34, something like that. UCLA, Oregon, I mentioned earlier. They're in Oregon, I do believe. I just don't see UCLA putting them enough points. I think it's going to be Oregon 52, UCLA 41. And we go to South Carolina, Missouri. Missouri's 5, South Carolina's 21 and reeling. They just lost to Tennessee. That's bad. But I think Missouri pulls it out. See how Jadeveon Clowney plays. if he puts up big numbers, I still think Missouri wins. I think they're going to win 27 to 23. 27-23 sounds like a good score. Upset pick of the weekend for me. Penn State beats Ohio State. Yep, you heard it here first. Penn State beating Ohio State. Ohio State's defense is not very good. Braxton Miller, I think Kenny Guyton's actually a better quarterback, but I think Penn State pulls off the upset here. They beat Michigan in 4 overtimes. That was a great game, by the way. If you missed it, it was a great game. Michigan's kicker is terrible, which is pretty much why they lost the game. But I think Penn State wins. I think it's a 34-30 game. I think Penn State pulls off the upset, though. Other game to watch this weekend, Stanford 6. Oh, they're 6, duh. And Oregon State 25. They should be ranked higher than that, in my opinion. But being ranked is being ranked. They still got a lot of good games left. They could beat Stanford. They probably still play UCLA. I'm not sure, though. Maybe, maybe not. They still play Oregon, obviously. So I think they might still play Washington. Coming off that opening week loss to an FCS team, though, they've been looking great. Sean Mannion's been unbelievable for them. That's another intriguing matchup. I think Stanford pulls it out, though, coming off a big win over UCLA, coming off the loss to Washington. No, they beat Washington. They lost to Utah. That's right. One of my best friends is at Utah, but I think Stanford pulls it out. And then you go to the NFL. Not exactly the most exciting matchups this week. Jets-Bengals. I mean, Jets win 5-3. I think they make the playoffs at that point. The Bengals 5-2 right now. They are a very good team. Arguably second. I think that they're arguably the third best team in the AFC now, behind Kansas City and Denver. With the Reggie Wayne injury, I just don't know what the Colts can do without him. He's an offensive leader. He's a go-to guy. He bails out Andrew Luck, T.Y. Hilton, and Darius Hayward-Bay. I just don't see them being a 1-2 punch on any team. Trent Richardson has been struggling. I don't know. I think the Bengals could be a top 3 team in the AFC if they finish with the number 2 seed. Obviously top 3, because only one, Kansas City or Denver, can win that division. The other one's going to be the number 5 seed, wild card. But I don't know. Wait and see. Another intriguing matchup this weekend. We got Megatron, Dez Bryant. Now, Dez Bryant needs to shut his mouth. Yes, you're a very good wide receiver, probably top 3 or 4 in the league. Megatron. Larry Fitzgerald is a great wide receiver. Remember that. Larry Fitzgerald is a great wide receiver. Who else is good? Demaryius Thomas is good. Who else is a good wide receiver? AJ Green, Julio Jones. I can't really tell you who's the best number 1. I mean, different situations call for different things. If I'm throwing up a Hail Mary, I probably want Calvin Johnson. If I'm looking for possession, I probably want Anquan Bolden. The dude makes catches in traffic. He is the toughest wide receiver. I'd rather have Reggie Wayne in clutch situations, too. But in the argument, Dez Bryant, Megatron, I think Megatron's got the edge a little bit, but I don't know. Doesn't really matter. I don't care. All I know is I don't have either one on any of my fantasy teams. But I know in one league I've got Matt Stafford and Phillip Rivers, 2 of the top 4 quarterbacks. I've got Jamal Charles. I've got Eddie Lacy. I've got Larry Fitzgerald, Demaryius Thomas. I got Vernon Davis. I got the Chiefs and Seahawks defense. I got Matt Prater as the number 1 kicker. And I'm only 6-1 in that league. I think I'm actually starting Jordan Cameron is my flex option in that league. No, I'm starting Harry Douglas now because I just picked him up. Because anybody see what he did last week against the Bucks? I mean, it was the Bucks, but without Julio Jones, Roddy White's probably going to be hurt. Tony Gonzalez going to get a lot of attention in the middle. Harry Douglas is going to spread the field up and down. Look for him to put up big numbers. I'm not here to talk about fantasy. I can do that if you guys want, but that's going to go ahead and do it for this sports report. And I hope you all enjoyed. If you got any questions, feel free to message me. I'll be sure to talk about some stuff in future episodes. I'll be doing these once a week, every Wednesday. So thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to click that like button, comment down below, subscribe. And I will see you guys all next time. I'm going to get some Chick-fil-A so I can go ahead and get this edited and uploaded for you guys today. And I'll see you guys all next time next week. Peace.